I attended a very interesting seminar last week. The topic was the future of self-driving cars and drones. But it was hard to concentrate on the presentation because the guy sitting next to me was pounding away at his laptop as he was taking notes.
Yes, that kind of disruptive behavior is pretty rude, isn't it? I think everyone should have a topless meeting policy, as we call it at A&A.
I agree. Bill, you should have shown the guy the memo Lydia's office sent out the other day. It was a reminder of our policy regarding the use of smartphones and laptops during meetings. Regarding smartphones, it said, all phones should be set to silent mode in meetings. If you're expecting an important call, you may set your phone to vibrate and leave the room to answer it.
As I recall, the rest went something like this. If you receive a text message from a member of your family, you may respond, but only if it's an emergency. If it's not, you may still respond, but only using emojis. 3 at the most.
When I was a graduate student, my favorite psychology professor was the first teacher on campus to ban the use of laptops in class because they distract from learning, both for users and for those around them. Laptops reduce education to the clackety-clack of transcribing lectures. Plus, too many students succumb to the temptation of using their laptops to surf the internet when they were supposed to be taking notes.
Good point. So what was the upshot after your professor banned laptops in the classroom?
The level of student engagement definitely improved. There was a lot more interaction and exchange of ideas between the professor and the class, as well as among the students. Our professor reminded us that students have to master 2 basic skills to make a go of it in the real world: listening and communicating. Listening requires patience, focus, and making eye contact, and clarity and precision are prerequisites for effective communication.
Yes, focus is absolutely essential. We perform best at work and at study when we're monotasking. A disruption of just a few seconds can derail your train of thought.
Even the seemingly innocuous act of putting your smartphone on the table during a meal, for example, is enough of a distraction to reduce the amount of empathy and rapport between people.
That is so true. Screens block us from connecting, whether at dinner or in a classroom. You know, any number of studies show that we process information a whole lot better when we take notes by hand. The point is that when you do that, you're not simply transcribing as you do with a laptop. Instead, you're much more likely to think about what you're writing down.
That makes a lot of sense. Unless you're a whiz at shorthand, you have to constantly analyze and summarize information when you're taking notes by hand. Paraphrasing like that means you have engaged actively with the content you're recording.
There's now sufficient evidence that college students learn less when they use computers or tablets during lectures. It's not a leap to think that the same holds true for workplace conferences. But I'm curious whether there was any revolt to your professor's no laptops mandate, Nancy.
At first, the students' opinion was that a ban was too extreme. After all, laptops do let them download course readings, look up unfamiliar concepts on the fly, and create an accurate, well-organized record of the lecture material. All of that is beneficial.
Well, I think a ban is a good idea, but I can see why they might object to it as heavy-handed. Most college students are legal adults who can vote and own property. Why shouldn't we decide ourselves whether to use a laptop? They could easily reason.
There were some die-hard defenders of the right to use laptops, even after the improved student engagement and exchange of ideas became clear. They were used to typing and preferred it to writing, which they put down as being old-fashioned and analog. Some of my fellow students even moaned and groaned that taking notes longhand was painful and a form of harassment.
Oh, the crybabies.
I know, right? But most of the students' arguments were more rational. They said using laptops to take notes enabled them to absorb more from lectures than if they were using pen and paper. They pointed out the kind of benefits I just mentioned: being able to download course-related materials, do online searches for keywords that came up during lectures, and put their notes into a neat set of files.
That sounds all very well, but forgive me for being skeptical. I don't think most students, Any of us, actually, have enough self-discipline to resist the siren call of the internet when we open our laptops or pick up our smartphones.
I'm with you there, Lydia. How often have I sat in front of my computer with the intention of looking up information for my next presentation, only to find myself watching videos of the latest sumo matches or my favorite Japanese comedians?
Don't worry, Shota. We've all been there. When a laptop is used to take notes in classroom or to download slides for a business presentation, it may become tempting to check email, catch up on an ongoing project, or see who won the football game the night before. In fact, avoiding irrelevant internet use might require a great deal of behavioral control. In my case, I found it very useful to type up my handwritten notes on my laptop later on. It was a good way of reviewing the material we'd covered in class.
I suppose one counter-argument to the point about laptops being a gateway to distraction is that people can always find ways to distract themselves from their work. When I was in college back in the pre-digital dark ages, we'd pass notes, doodle, read the newspaper, or even do crossword puzzles.
I confess to having done the same thing myself at times. But I think that kind of behavior is less consuming than surfing the internet in class or during a business meeting. Laptops are such an insidious threat to concentration.